Here is the whole story. The BJP is saying that wherever they maxed out in the last election, they could lose a bit. They have to lose a lot. And the opposition has to win a lot for this whole story to change. Now let's talk about one factor which not many speak, ladies and gentlemen. We'll take the conversation forward with the same panelists, and this is the Mahila factor. Let's try and understand this. We'll look at the Mahila factor, what's happening, reason why, because for Modi, the Mahila vote is a very, very important vote. Look at the turnout of the women voters. In the MP Assembly elections 2023, when the story changed for the BJP, contrary to what everybody was saying on ground, the Mahila voters was a 2% plus above the male voter turning out to vote. So when the Mahila voter comes into play here, this is the combination, Modi and Mahila, as far as the success of the BJP in this election is concerned. And the overall electoral turnout, if you were to say, number of voters who are going to vote. Now look at Rajasthan Assembly elections 2023. Look at this. There is almost a 6% gap. A 6% gap between the number of male voters who came to vote and the women voters who came out to vote. And the women voters, not necessarily that all voted for the BJP. But wherever the women voters outnumbered the BJP returned a handsome mandate. So this is something which is a trend, and if this happens on ground, the Mahila connect, and through not just the Labharti aspect, Zaka, you know, and let's take this conversation. How many of them were able to, how many Mahila actually came out and said that this is what we feel? That they are the ones who generally, they're 50% of the voter base, but they keep their cards close to their chest. They don't come out and tell you much, and they are not approachable also.
No, they're very difficult for exit pollsters to gauge the mind of women voters. Women voters are reluctant to, say who they voted for, certainly more than men are. But, you look at that list of states, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, even UP and Bihar, there is evidence to show that when the women voter turnout is higher than the men, it has generally tended to favor the BJP. Of course, I'm not saying it's a monolith and it always goes one way. Pallavi talked about Karnataka, where women voted for the Congress. Mamata Banerjee is a famous example with women voters. So, Pallavi, when you went to these states, and obviously women voters talk more to women reporters than perhaps they talk to male reporters.
But they don't do that. No?
What is the sense you're getting about the Mahila vote? Because BJP is also banking in a big way on the Mahila vote.
So the whole disclaimer over here is that please let's not go, the yardstick for an assembly election is completely different from the Lok Sabha elections. It's not necessarily if they voted for a party A in a state elections, they're going to vote for the same party. So that is where the BJP is getting its hope from. I think Mamata Banerjee, I'm talking about Bengal again, I think Mamata Banerjee did realize that. And look at what she did, the Lokhi Bhandar scheme, which is the big scheme. They extended the money and the kind of women who are going to get it just on the threshold of the Sandesh Khali incidents. Because that's what she wanted to counter. That if I'm going to give them financial independence, this entire talk of the BJP of me being anti-woman is not going to work. It can swing either which way. I found it, Bengalis love to talk. So this time round, I found it different that they just don't want to talk. Even if you go without a camera, even if they know you're not a reporter, they don't want to talk. So that silence is worrying the Trinamool Congress also. And I'm saying this because I remember the day I did the PM interview and we did that road show, there were huge crowds in the Sham Bazar area. And I remember someone from the TMC, very close to Mamata Banerjee, did call me up and say, listen, I'm talking to you as not a Mamata Banerjee aide, but someone from the TMC. What is going to happen? I said, you tell me. They said, no one is talking. And that is what is worrying me. That is what is worrying the Trinamool Congress. The fact that they are not talking.
The silence is not just limited only to Bengal.
Yeah.
The silence of the women voter and the voter at large, but specifically the women voter, is something which you would have seen across other states also.
There are two major
So
factors.
they think they'll get a lot from the centre also if I'm going to vote for the BJP.
Yeah.
So
I think the schemes targeting women is a huge factor across country. You
get the same effect.
The same thing you hear in Uttar Pradesh, the same thing you hear in South of India. We talk a lot about the Labharti schemes in the context of UP, Bihar, and let's say the northern western states. But actually in South, there are crores and crores of Labhartis who have benefited from the schemes of the of the central government. And in Kerala, for example, the electorate number is not too large. And the BJP says that, see, there are 2 crore people here who have been benefited by our schemes one way or the other.
Actually, even 2 major factors, which I saw on the ground when it comes to women voters. I think the 2 biggest issues in this election, the free ration from the BJP. Extended till 2029. Whichever woman voter I spoke to appreciated the Modi government's free ration promise till 2029. The second major contrast I saw, Anand, The big promise by the Congress to give 1 lakh rupees to a woman in every household, I surprisingly found no resonance of that promise on the ground amongst women voters. That was very surprising. There was less awareness about it, I think also. And many women voters simply did not want to believe this promise that 1 lakh rupees will kahan se aayega.
The trust is a fundamental issue in this election. And what is Modi's guarantee? That look, when I tell you something, I deliver. Whether it is CAA, whether it is, the several other promises that they made in their manifesto, we deliver. Of course, I mean, you can choose and pick your examples, but the one point I really wanted to make was that we forget that the South had a culture of giving welfares, in whichever way. They are the ones who pioneered it. Whether it was the father-in-law of, Chandrababu Naidu, or if you look down in Tamil Nadu, etc., they are the ones who came out with specific incentives for various parts of their...
J. Jayalalitha or Karunanidhi, they both
and
did
before
lot of
that.
And all of that.
And before that. So, there are many ways. The point is that did they always get to the people who were the intended beneficiaries? That's been the huge difference.
J. Jayalalitha benefited from the Amma canteen big time because that's why she bucked the trend back in 2016.
Because that was a physical infrastructure. When it comes to depositing things, the UPA might have come up with jam, but unfortunately, वो jam ही हो गया. They couldn't put it down. That's the thing. And this government has used digital, the infrastructure to actually bring things and put it in your palm. And that's been the difference.